a question from Dr. Sengupta. I think there are 3 questions here. The first one you've just answered, which was on the GCEL revenue model. Will the logistics system be open to add-on innovation, example in supply chain optimization or contracting? And the next one is, will GCEL also develop the static knowledge basis? Example, transit lines and...
Can we ask maybe the gentleman?
This is Dr. Sengupta.
So, for example, if you have to do such network planning in India today, or perhaps in large parts of the underdeveloped or developing world, you find the first hurdle is getting information about what does it have. Well, we talked about growth in hardware, growth in the hard infrastructure, but information about existing infrastructure is itself not widely available. So it's impossible to design good networks, good logistics in that scenario.
Sure.
So that was the last question.
So can you repeat the first, if you don't mind?
The first question was something which you just answered, which is what's your revenue model?
Okay.
Because if you are free,
sure,
you will not be able to sustain yourself without, like Yahoo and Google. They have other avenues to make money. You just explained that. The second question was, as Dr. Ravinstad just explained, that this is a major innovation globally. Again, innovation itself cannot stand still. It has to allow more innovation. So will you be a basis on which others can add on innovation to your system, and then the overall system keeps on evolving and growing as the world economy grows? The last question was, we have a disadvantage compared to the developed world, not only in hard infrastructure, not only in soft infrastructure, but also in knowledge about what is there. So whether it is CII who addresses that, or GCEL who addresses that, it is extremely important for us to address it.
Thank you very much again for the question. We did a similar awareness event in Indonesia, and we have been asked about this similar question, the fact that can we be part of it? I mean, because lack of the physical infrastructure, lack of the technology that's available, and so forth, so on. The answer was yes. The reason, and we use an example, the telecommunications. We said like about 10-15 years ago, Indonesia were way behind, and I believe the same thing in India, if I may, from a telecommunication in comparison with the United States. But today they are way ahead. And why is that? Thanks to the digital era. What they did is they took few antennas, digital antenna, for example, in Indonesia and in India, and they put the digital antennas. And now we have digital technology available, and whereby in the United States they take a longer time. Imagine, and they still in some places behind. Now they are catching up. Reason why? Because the existing company like AT&T and other large conglomerate organizations, they spend and invest a lot of money on coppers, on switches, and they resist a little bit to move from that investment to digital, so it takes them a little bit more time to do it. But in Indonesia, because it was not available, if I may, so when they present those digital antennas for the cellular phones, so now everybody have it and everybody was using advanced technology telecommunication. So to apply this on logistics, how this would work. You see, I met here before came to the panel a gentleman, also he's a captain from, I believe, from the Ministry of Transportation. And I said to him, maybe give us a little bit advantage, talking about logistics. We were, as a captain, I'm also sea captain, we were at the dock side working with the people who loading the shipments and unloading and going to the general agents and seeing the problem of the bill of lading and the errors that he's doing when they submit the bill of lading and so forth, so on. So to give you an idea, this in Nigeria, no technology available, and it's very manual. But this particular gentleman that they put like a steel fence that the customers cannot reach to the agent when they submit the bill of lading structure, and he's building the first documents required for the moving of shipment. That particular person doesn't need an education if you want to move him to technology, because he's been filling up the bill of lading structure for many years. So the core system, I mean, the business, he knows. What he, on the bill of lading and other shipment, example, shipper's export declaration or import declaration, he knows. He doesn't require education for his business. But what he needs, now we will educate him as part of our system, our deployment, is to provide him the solution for free access, portal in, if he doesn't have a system. And we will plug him in, if I may, and we can be more detailed. What does that mean, integration, from vertical to horizontal system? But if he doesn't have system, we give him access free again through portal. And we will educate him how to use the system, simplifying what he used doing by typewriters and so forth. So we don't need to educate him how to do bill of lading instruction, but we educate him how to use the system to make him more efficient. And by the way, as you know, there is a lot of studies about when you have one supply chain pipeline or data pipelines, and you have multiple sources of data, that means you are now validating the data, you're minimizing error and so forth, so on. And HCL can talk about the technology. That means in the flow of a pipeline, when you have access to it, portal free and so forth, so on, you're minimizing the keystrokes. You're also having multiple sources of data coming in the same pipeline, which is very valid to maximize the quality of the data and so forth, so on. So from an educational side of the equation, we will educate how to use the system, but they already know it will be fairly fast to use the system. And the technology, as we said, since it's portal access and it's free, I heard about the Ministry here of SMEs. One of the things they're doing is providing free computers to SMEs. So the question is, what's on this computer and how we can help them to integrate with the world. That's exactly the platform that they need. As also Dr. said, today to book the flight was through the internet, and that's the same thing will happen. So we provide them a system so they can use this computer to integrate with their supply chain and with their financial institution and the insurance institution and tracking their shipment, etc. and so forth.
Right. Thanks, Captain. Yeah. This question is not addressed to anybody specific, but it says, this is the Bhushan Sunet. Right. The question is, other than TCS and HCL, how do you plan to involve other IT vendors?
Yes, thank you very much. The process by which to engage the various gateways is that as we have done in Indonesia, as we're doing today, and we are having similar events forward in Singapore, in Lebanon, in Tunisia, Italy, Brazil, the United States. We will be continuing to conduct these various awareness events to make the technology, finance, and insurance firms aware of this global opportunity, leading to our Genesis event, which is planned to be held at the United Nations in the fall, where we will be inviting then the world's CEOs from the leading finance, insurance, technology firms to come together, where we will then commence our equal opportunity request for license process, whereby then these firms then can submit their capabilities, their technical capabilities, to become what we call to be selected as gateways, where we will select 12 technology gateways, 4 insurance gateways, and 12 finance gateways to be integrated into, or to be part of the global logistics system. These firms will then collaborate together for the deployment of the global logistics system over an 18-month period through 4 benchmark trade lanes in each of the 4 world regions: the Americas, the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. Presently, we have our members include, overall, our public members include more than 30 countries and states, 13 NGOs, including the United Nations, the OECD, as well as private sector members of totaling more than 2.7 million members operating in over 130 countries throughout the world.
Again, like I said originally, I don't want to mention names, but just to give you an idea, when we say 60% of the world, 60% of the world GDP, I see, example, Accenture is members of the GCEL, Microsoft, Sun Microsystems, and others. I don't want to mention all. JP Morgan Chase is already GCEL members. So there is a large organization already members. And as Dr. Dremestad has said, you see, we know with the business model representing the value proposition and how this, we are receiving a huge interest. And we know eventually every country going to say, because logistics and finance, we will talk about more finance, insurance, it's a vital, this is we call it a vital national security industry, what we talk about here. That other countries in the world eventually they're going to come and say, why we've never been given the opportunity to participate. So those awareness events, we already, I have to say, we already have enough technologies and finance and insurance organizations so to do the job at the first round. But we don't want to be focusing only on the West. We would like to come also to the East and say to the East, this is the opportunity